It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, no Tim Slagle this week on the Weekly Wrap. Instead, we got the legend Mike North with us again. Mike, it's been a long time since we talked.
It's been a long time, but you know what? I talked to you on Twitter. We have fun going back and forth. So it's the same thing. It's conversation, right? You know, only in a different form.
Totally. So it's like we do talk all the time. Anyway.
Absolutely.
So he actually it's good show prep for me because I know what you've been up to. I know all your golf scores right now. I know you start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you'd start at 5 if you could, probably.
No doubt, because I'm first out here at Whisper Creek. I play with no interruption, nobody in front of me, and we're going to have to play because I heard you're not bad.
I'm taking lessons.
Are you really?
Yeah, again for the umpteenth time. Look, as much as whatever you're an expert on, and I know you're an expert on a lot of stuff.
No, I'm not.
There is nobody who can top me on the study of YouTube videos for golf instruction. I even told this golf instructor that I have, I was arguing with him. You know, it was lawyering him because he's telling me to bring my arms down like Justin Rose brings them straight down. And I say, oh no, because Justin Rose doesn't even realize what he's doing. This instructor named Milo Lyons has shown videos showing that Justin Rose thinks that he's just dropping his arms down, but he's opening his shoulders. I mean, that's what he's you start arguing. Actually, so it's looking good right now, but I don't have any distance.
I don't either. I just bought some new Callaways.
Okay.
You know, if you're going to break 100 at some point in your career, you better have the best clubs available. And I bought some Callaways over the what BB got them for me. You know, she typed it up and they came today. And the box was big and long, and so I picked it up and I strained my back. So other than I'm going to be okay. Now this I have no swing ever that resembles this. Believe me when I
the one that we're showing on the screen for those of you shut-ins at home who can't see this.
Shut-ins,
but
hey, Jack Brickhouse invented that.
But anyway. Whee! All right, let's get to some important business. Now, here's the thing. As we're taping this, there's a story that's going to break. I've heard this through Twitter when I'm following. You probably may be following it as well. Some big Epstein story that involves Trump, but it doesn't sound like they had Trump dealing with underage girls. There might have been something with Melania, might be business deals. I don't know, but you know, by the time somebody hears this, this may all be moot. But you care to speculate and see?
Here's what I don't understand. Look, you can like Trump. I like Trump. I think he's a good president. But the fact that you can't see a mistake or he can't make a mistake, the people that say that he can walk on water and not make a mistake are not really paying attention to the tea leaves, because we were sold on the Epstein list. A lot of people were sold on that. And then all of a sudden, you have Pam Bondi saying this, and Musk is saying that. A lot of confusion out there. This is the one deal that Trump thought he could put away by saying, you know, this is no big thing. I can't believe we're still talking about a dead guy. Wait a minute. That was 2019. You campaigned on him. So now,
Mike, now who's being naive, Kay? Pardon my godfather. I mean, if look, I would think that Trump would. The next thing he's going to say is that Barack Obama was born in Chicago. I mean, what am I going to believe?
Well, I'll never forget Jesse Jackson saying I never heard of him. So exactly. He told me straight out. I go, where does Barack Obama come from? And he'll deny it. Jesse will deny it, but I know Jesse very well. He said to me, I never heard of him. And then all of a sudden, you know, once he got into the Senate, then he heard of him.
Oh yeah, but so he came from nowhere, according to Jesse Sr., right?
Well, of what he said is he never heard of him. Maybe he
never heard of him.
His deal, but he was a community organizer. Right. He came out of nowhere. The bottom line is Trump's going to make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. So for the people that say, oh, he never makes any mistakes, sure he does. You know, everybody makes mistakes, but that doesn't mean you're not going to love the guy for the stuff that he's done, period. He's done some good stuff. But this Epstein thing is the one thing that there's a lot of people upset about it. I don't think, and I mean some pertinent people in their deal. I mean, Charlie Kirk was all over this, and then somebody must have had a talk with him because he said, I'm just going to trust the government on this.
Well, here's the thing.
I thought I would never hear that coming out of Charlie Kirk's mouth.
Charlie Kirk takes I think he's
a local guy, Bruce. I think he listened to us when he was growing up.
There's two people I wanted you to hear about who I'm wondering if they listened to us when they were growing up and really made it big. One is Charlie Kirk. The other is the Pope.
I love him. I'm back.
But was the Pope listening to you? Was the Pope going, that guy's a jag bag? Or was he doing that?
There's no doubt about it. 1992, he was living, they're still living around here, I guess. And I guess that he was a big sports fan living in Dalton. I love Pope Leo. He's brought me back to the church. All he had to do was put that White Sox fan on. Apparently, divine intervention doesn't include the White Sox, but you can't have a.
Wait a minute. How long had it been since your last confession?
Oh, my God.
Before the Pope came in.
Oh, I'm talking 14 years of age. It's the creepiest thing. Have you ever gone to confession? You were Jewish, so you didn't go to.
Look, I'm not Seinfeld, who went to confession. I don't know if you ever saw that one. And he was upset. He was upset that the guy was not as a Jew, but as a comedian that he was telling.
They tell you,
jokes. Yeah,
they tell you, go into the door, open the door. It's real dark. A screen will open. You won't see the guy, and tell him everything you've done wrong, and then he'll tell you to say a couple prayers. Yeah. I tried to avoid confession as much as I could. It was the creepiest thing of all time.
What's the worst thing you ever did? Did you if you put ketchup on one of the hot dogs that you sold? I would say that would be the worst thing that you did.
No, I don't. I think the person that eats it with the ketchup will spend eternity in hell.
It is. And I wonder if Leo could invoke papal infallibility on that one. He actually said something the other day, apparently, and I haven't investigated this.
Okay.
But there was some hospital in Gaza. A church in Gaza.
I saw that.
Church that got hit by the IDF, and the Pope was saying he was calling for a ceasefire, and it caused me to tweet, "Hey, stay in your lane, buddy."
I saw that.
Hey, what do you think? Living with your area of expertise. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think of all those White Sox pitchers who starred in the All-Star game this year? That's what you should be talking about.
I think baseball's in a bad place.
Don't start talking about ceasefires.
Baseball's in a bad place right now.
I'm sorry?
Baseball's in a bad place. I mean, they're talking about automated umps. I heard the ball players aren't excited about the automated umps. They like the human element. They also don't believe that the electronic system's going to work fully. In other words, if a lefty throws a sinker to a right-handed batter and the ball sinks below the knee, but a piece of that ball touches the light, that ball has been called a ball forever in Major League Baseball, but the thing lights up for a strike. So I think there's going to be some problems.
I want your expertise on this because you've really looked at this for many, many years.
Oh,
I have this theory that if Greg Maddux had to live in the electronic eye era, he wouldn't have made it to the major league roster. They were calling outside strikes for him for years based on his reputation.
He wins 250 games at the most. He doesn't win. I told Greg Maddux, he didn't hang up on me, which I give him full credit. I told him, you got the strike zone of a person that if they had a bow door, couldn't hit the ball. And he did. He took a little offense to it because, well, that's your opinion. It's the truth.
Yeah.
He would have led the league in walks if he was going to stick to what he was doing. He had the widest strike zone I've ever seen in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
He got away with it. All right, I got to go back to politics just for a second.
I love it when you do that.
Here's it back and forth. It's like when we're sitting on Sunday watching the football game. First, you go to the M&Ms, then you go to the Cheetos, then back to the M&Ms, then to the Cheetos. I mean, I can't keep my attention on anything for.
I'm just happy to be alive because I realize after drinking gallons of booze, after eating all the wrong foods all my life, it was the M&Ms that were going to kill me.
Sure.
It was the food dye that was poisoning me. Are you kidding me?
Hey, I know you don't like to have planned segments or anything, but I did have a whole diet thing coming up.
Oh,
but I wanted to mention to you this auto pen thing, this scandal with the auto pen. I didn't think it would really go anywhere because I think, all right, so he had a mechanical thing signed this, but apparently it really is a big deal because you can't just give generalized verbal criteria for who should get a pardon, and then you wind up pardoning these horrible, nefarious characters that he probably didn't even realize he was doing.
Well, no, what happened was, from what I heard, they handed him the stamp and it said Joe Biden. He goes, "Why are you giving me this? You know what why are you giving me this?" I mean, seriously, and Trump is right when he says it's a bigger scandal than the Epstein scandal, in his opinion, because so many people got pardoned, and then you got Fauci got pardoned and other people, but there's some people that didn't get pardoned. So we'll see what happens.
The only thing I could see is how it could be worse than Epstein is if, like maybe Biden had used the auto pen to sign an underage girl's
don't go there, Bruce. Don't go there. Don't.
I really, you know what? I was as I was saying,
I know I could tell.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. With Mike North, who made fun of Antonio Mora, and took a lot of heat for it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because
what did you say? You were more Mexican than he was? Did you say you were more Mexican than he was?
Right, because he was Cuban. He was Cuban. The city council didn't even know. I mean, so the bottom line is, I'll never forget it. I met him, and he looked at me like, "This is what I walked into." You know what I mean?
By the way, for those of you who don't remember, he was one of the fungible Channel 2 newscasters over the years. All right, Bruce Wolf, Mike North on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Mike North for the working Tim Slagle. He's in Minnesota doing gigs.
Really?
I mean, stand-up. This guy does stand-up comedy. Have you ever tried to do stand-up?
Yes. I did okay. I did Zanies. I did 5 minutes at Zanies, and I went up there. I got some laughs, but I didn't get some laughs on things I thought I'd get some laughs on.
Give me a joke that bombed.
Oh my God. I can't even remember because it was like 10 years ago. It was the one in Rosemont.
Not that far ago. Yeah. All right.
Well, you know what? We're getting older. It was in Rosemont. The Zanies in Rosemont. I did it.
Oh no, I was there for a New Year's. My best friend.
You know when they have a good time.
Oh no, my best friend. First of all, none of us want to go up. We're all like close to 70 at that time or whatever.
Right.
New Year's Eve. I don't want to go on a New Year's Eve.
No.
And then I can't drink really. I did drinking gradually. So I paid $12 for each bottle of water that I buy. And yet it's a 2 bottle of water minimum.
Yeah.
And it was what was hysterical because you had like 8 Jewish people sitting around the table on New Year's Eve. And my best friend who's a lawyer, had not done his research. Thought, oh, this comedian's going to be funny. The filthiest, everything, 90% vagina, 10% penis jokes. I mean, and it was like, and I had gone with my best friend and our wives years ago to see Eddie Murphy Raw.
Oh, nice.
Oh, at live.
Nice.
Rosemont. And I remember when I saw it, I was afraid to laugh because I was afraid that my wife would see me laughing at Eddie Murphy. Well, this one, I mean,
it sounds like you have a wonderful relationship, you and your wife, Bruce, that if you laugh, you might face the hell of fury. My God.
Hey, we've lasted. It's a formula that's worked. Yeah. So, but we had one guy sitting there was so bored with it. He got his phone out and was like looking at business. Well, this woman is really, I feel for whoever's up there. Because I think it's the toughest thing in the world to do.
It is.
It's because people are paying, when you're a funny guy, I'm a funny guy, but remember it's context.
It's spontaneity. It's spontaneity. See, I did a movie. I was in a movie. That's the worst. You wait around. I had 3 lines. I played Otto, the liquor salesman. It was in a movie called Eden Court by Falcon Pictures. It sounds so bizarre, but it's true. And Bridget Wilson was in it, former Northwestern lady actress who was in Scent of a Woman. She's the one that dates with Al Pacino. And I had 3 lines. I was a nervous wreck. I had to wait an hour before. It's a memory thing. The memory thing is the hardest thing. I think acting is probably. I asked Chaz Palminteri one time. I says, man, how do you do it? You know what he told me? I'm a professional. And that's what
right.
it is. That's
Right.
what it is. If you're
They
not
get ready, they know
professional-
when to spit it out. I mean, it's not
Yep.
easy to sit there in that trailer. Yeah,
Oh,
sure, you're doing
man.
the cocaine. I get, it's a pass the time of day. I get it. I get it. But but then you got to come out and you got to perform, and everybody's standing around you. They're paying
Right.
millions of dollars. Cut.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous.
All right, we're gonna do it again. I go, Jesus Christ.
Have you ever noticed that newscasters, when they're in a movie, they're always cast as newscasters or as
Right.
reporters, which I'd be like, I can't. No, I want to play.
Right.
I want to play Tommy Lee Jones' part in The Fugitive. I don't want to be Lester Holt's newscaster guy. I don't want to do that.
John Drummond was in The Fugitive, and he played himself. Jay
Right.
Levine. If you remember The Fugitive, there was a lot of our media people in it, and they played themselves basically.
Which was why when Mark Giangreco got fired, okay, and you knew that I was setting this up so I could just stick it to somebody, right?
I don't know the deal between you two guys. It's hilarious.
You know what it is? He was successful.
It was competition.
He was successful. I don't like that. All right. So I'm a mean, nasty guy.
Yeah, as
right.
you get older, aren't you happier for people?
There's something really there's a lot wrong with me.
Oh,
but anyway, so Giangreco suggests is a little joke that Cheryl Burton should play the part of the ditzy real estate salesman.
I remember.
And I'm thinking, and everybody's saying they're defending him and he gets fired over this.
I don't think he should have been fired for it.
Well, which he was. It's a beautiful thing. But
vicious. You're vicious.
But anyway, I'm thinking, everybody's saying it was just a joke. I'm saying, no. It's not like she's Gracie Allen and could play a ditz, with George Burns and was really a great actress. No, she would be playing herself because that's what newscasters do. They play themselves. But speaking of people getting fired.
Yes.
All right. In the Mount Rushmore of Chicago broadcasting firings, okay. And I'm going to put you on the spot of this.
Go ahead.
I mean, Giangreco getting fired over that,
I thought he shouldn't have been fired. You want to suspend the guy, fine. But I mean, you want to fire Mark. I didn't think that was right. I didn't.
Well, my whole thing about him on that was he had been suspended like a year earlier because he had called on Twitter. He had called Trump voters simpletons. He got suspended like that. Okay, so he gets suspended for that, but then he gets fired for sounding like a Trump voter. Oh, I'm not racist. I didn't mean that.
I remember Mark not liking Trump. I thought, you know what, that's okay, but he was vehement against him. But I just thought at the time, maybe, as you know, people have files. And maybe there was something in Mark's file. It was zero tolerance or something like that. But
no, I don't think. I think you're making it into. I think it's just that it was a couple of egos and hers. Hers superseded his. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And they didn't want to alienate her. I mean, and she'd had enough of it, whether she's justified or not. Whatever. But in the Mount Rushmore of Chicago broadcasting firings, is that one sportscaster?
Yeah.
Is that one better than Dan Bernstein getting fired over a fish?
Wow. What
it's a
Bernstein seemed more serious. He
got fired over a fish.
I don't think it was just over a fish. I think there was something with family involved.
No, he was threatening to dox.
But I believe Danny was a guy that was there for a long, long time. And when you're there and you're somewhere for a long, long time, take it from me, you're given plenty of rope. Okay, until the rope is gone. Okay, and that's what happened. And apparently he had other issues before that, just like most talk show hosts have had. There's files probably on everybody that did something, whether you spit on the floor or you got mad at somebody. The tolerance isn't there. But I thought that Danny had a lot of leash, and then at the end, like most, it ends up not.
You know what it is,
and he's not around. I hope he's getting help because it got pretty serious.
Yeah. You talk 4 hours a day.
Right.
You're going to wind up putting your foot in your mouth every once in a while.
I've never been suspended. So
congratulations to you.
I probably should have been at times, but I wasn't. I was bringing in the cash. I was
Sure.
bringing in ratings. You know how the game's played.
Yeah.
If you're bringing in the ratings,
Oh,
and
right.
you're bringing in money, and you're doing your job, and I've never missed a day of work, and you're there ready to play, you get plenty of leash.
right.
But then one day, the leash ends. Period. And
Yeah.
that happens to seems like it happens to a lot of broadcasters.
Yeah. I think what it is, you ever heard of death by cop, suicide by cop? I think, people do themselves in.
There's no
It's
doubt
like
about it.
you didn't really want to be there anymore. And then eventually you're keying a car at the auto show,
I actually had to put in my contract. I worked an auto show, and I told Ron Gleason, don't ever put me here again, ever. I go, nobody knows us. They're out of town people. We're at McCormick Place between a Chevy Impala and a tow truck. I said, so I had to put in my contract, no more auto show.
In your contract, man, what an egomaniac you were.
No, I didn't want. I wanted to do it.
Did you have a spread? I want these cold.
I had green M&Ms only in my in the green room.
I want these M&Ms that are eventually going to kill me, and then I'm going to have to stop drinking. But that's what I want right now.
That's the only thing I ever had put in my contract. Please don't have me work that awful, terrible auto show. Me and Buffon worked it, and I'll never forget Doug going, I don't like it here too much, little buddy.
It's funny, when I was growing up, I loved listening to broadcasts from the auto show because you know who did them? Bob Elson.
Oh my God, the most boring broadcaster.
Right, but it meant that baseball was coming around the bend. And he would talk to guys, and you'd hear his voice, and you could think spring training was only in a few weeks, and it was Bob Elson. And that's what mattered to me.
When I was a kid, I'd have the transistor radio, like people say, the little radio. I'd have it in my pillow. Bob Elson from Hi, this is Bob Elson from LA doing the LA Angels versus the Chicago White Sox. Dean Chance going up tonight again. And the first batter would have a 1-1 count. Bob Elson was so boring, I never got to 1 and 2.
That's because you were a little kid and you went to bed. That was your lullaby, was Bob Elson.
Bob Elson was my lullaby. And what a boring lullaby it was.
Nothing wrong with it. What a good way to go to sleep. Yeah, Bob Elson. No, that was great. I mean, to me, that's the sound of baseball.
That is.
Because that's what I grew up with. And I got to interview him when he made it to the Hall of Fame. I did a phoner with him. And you remember alligator clips, putting that on the phone so you could record with a tape recorder. Yeah. And I talked to Elson, and it was a great thrill. So that but
why not?
But you go.
I played bridge with Jack Brickhouse.
Hey. You played
at the Ridgemore Country Club. It was gin. We played gin. I sat in on a hand. He was playing with a bunch of guys because he belonged to that club. And it was great. You walk in and there's Jack Brickhouse sitting in the recreation.
Oh, man.
That's
great. Cup wasn't there at all?
Huh?
No. Cup wasn't with him. Okay.
I think the most amazing thing about Irv Cup's in it, and I asked him about it, he was George Halas's best friend. And he was the ref in the
unbelievable in the 1940 game. You think that it was a mistake that they won 73-0?
Touchdown called back by Washington. The guy breathed out a bear.
First of all, he called a bunch of penalties against Washington because he knew that they should have been named the Commanders.
Of course, he didn't like the name.
1940. All right, Bruce Wolf, Mike North on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Mike North for Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. So, Mike, my sources tell me, and actually the source is you on Twitter, that you didn't watch the Home Run Derby Monday night. You watched Maverick. And all I can tell you is that it better be James Garner as Brett Maverick and not whoever it was who played Bart.
All right, first of all, let me just say this. There were 3 Westerns I really enjoyed as a kid. Okay. The Rifleman. Okay. With Chuck Connors.
Cubs first baseman. Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Boston Celtic. Basketball player. Played 2 sport athletes. A lot like Deion.
You know what? I think back in those days, there were like about 18 people in the United States. I mean, and they had to multitask. So you have
Right.
Chuck Connors as a movie star. You know, as a three-tool player.
But you know you hit it big when you're watching Maverick. Now, I was too young when it came out, 57, 58, 59, 60.
Sure.
James Garner. But then you see this guy, Jack Kelly, because James Garner
Yeah.
didn't want to work every week. And when the special bonus, no, he didn't. Just like in Rockford Files. Why am I doing this? Well, because you're getting paid a ton of dough. But when you had Jack Kelly, the other night I watched it, they had them both on at the same time.
Really?
Television gold, my friend. Television
Well,
gold.
I didn't even know that story. I did know the story. Did you know that Fred McMurray and My Three Sons shot all his scenes like in 2 days?
Right.
And if you ever watch My Three Sons, they're all like cutaways of these people. They never actually saw him on the show. And you didn't realize what a big star he was because all we knew was we didn't see the Apartment or any of those great movies. You know,
Double Indemnity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it had to aggravate the hell out of the one guy that was always pissed off about something. A William Frawley, ladies.
William Frawley, sure. Yeah, no question about it. As a matter of fact, I mean, he was the best bub. William Demarest took over for him. That was like Shemp taking over for Curly. As far as
what? As you get older, you look at Shemp as more sophisticated. You watch the Stooges, because when Shemp was on when we were kids, we'd run home from school and then you'd say, please be Curly, and then Shemp would come on.
Right.
It was bitter disappointment.
Just to draw this back to politics, because we have to do it, the FCC requires us to
Is that what
public service. I got to talk about this. I was wondering if Sonia Sotomayor, Supreme Court Justice, rebuking Justice Jackson is akin to Larry turning and slapping Curly. I mean, because
I mean, no, that was a rebuke. I mean, 8-1. I mean, the other, the one that voted against the other 8,
right?
She couldn't describe what a woman was. That was a non-starter for me. But she's going to be there for a long time, and I don't think she's ever voted with the rest. I mean, she usually just votes negative, but it seems like the rest of them know what the law is. So we'll see what happens. I am shocked that she got in as a Supreme Court justice. I am. She's more of an activist than anything.
DEI. Anyway, moving back to the All-Star game. So the home run derby. Of course, you didn't need to see the home run derby because it turned out the game was decided by a home run derby, or as I would like to call it, a jack-off. Okay, so
I mean, I cannot believe I didn't watch either. Look, I watch a lot of baseball because I bet baseball, and I watch a lot of it. So I pay attention to baseball. There's no way I was going to watch the All-Star game. There's no way I was watching Home Run Derby. I just don't like it anymore. I don't like even them talk. I like them to just play the game. I don't need Clayton Kershaw's on the mound. Watch this one, guys. I'm going to throw some gas. Just play the game, but they don't. I talked to a buddy of mine, and you know him, Jeff Schwartz. He went to the game. Okay. He says, tough place to get to, heavy traffic. I go, that's the All-Star game, and stuff like that. He said that they had festivities in between innings.
I'm surprised they had the game in Atlanta because, as you know, if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, which the final season was based on voter suppression in Atlanta, which of course doesn't exist.
It doesn't, because they've had record voting now.
It doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, by the time Larry David's final season of Curb came on, there was a University of Georgia or something like that poll of black people. Who, and you know what the percentage was that found that their vote was suppressed in the 2022 elections? 0%.
There's nobody stopping anybody from voting. And I thought that, the Larry David last season, I like Larry David. It seemed out of place almost because that had all been like rectified, or it never even happened. So it seemed like he was a little behind the times. He's still a genius at comedy. I get a kick out of, like we were just talking about, episodic TV. Those TV shows back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they did 39 shows a year. And then Larry David does 6 shows in 3 years. And everybody goes, oh my God,
it's like Denny McLean once threw 249 pitches in a game. Okay. Right. I mean, it was like I'm saying, it goes back to my theory There were about 3 guys out there. Chuck Connors had to play. There's one guy pitching. Wilbur Woods pitching both ends of a doubleheader. There's just no people in the country. There's just not enough people, I guess.
I told a guy the other day on Twitter, and people were amazed about Edwin Moses. Do you remember Edwin Moses?
Yeah.
I said the guy won like 112 races in a row, and he had to jump over hurdles. He won 122 races in a row. Most people don't even realize it. In my opinion, if I was going to write a book of the 100 greatest athletes of all time, or the 100 greatest black athletes of all time, I'm sorry, I'd have Edwin Moses ahead of Jordan. You won 100. You won 100.
Them's fighting words, buddy.
Hold on.
Words. No,
you had 122. You jumped over hurdles. Okay. 122 races.
Just don't tell Michael Jordan that, because he'll want to get into a race with Edmund Moses.
Oh yeah, well, Michael.
Right now.
Oh yeah, you talk about a prickly guy. Michael's one of the best.
First of all, you heard that I think his mansion is like being used as an Airbnb or something. Yeah. Or they want to use it.
Did you see his airplane?
Yeah.
He's got a brand new jet. It's beautiful.
I did see the airplane, and I was wondering if we could give that to Trump instead of have Qatar give him a plane. I don't imagine Michael Jordan, unless it has a basketball court on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see Michael Jordan sitting still. And,
well, you know what? I give him a lot of credit. I give the guy a lot of credit. Michael Jordan's the greatest athlete I ever saw, as far as I mean, I used to tell, when we went to the stadium to watch him play, I used to tell all the guys, you're never going to see this again. And we're never going to see that again. What we saw, especially here in Chicago, where we got guys making all-star teams.
But meantime, and you went to his camp, didn't you?
Right. I went to his camp at the time of my life.
You paid some pretty good money to go to that camp.
Yeah, I paid. I told him, aren't you going to throw it in? He didn't throw nothing in for anything.
No, not at all.
Nothing. No, but I had the greatest time. We played poker. I mean, we played blackjack together. We hung out. We played one-on-one.
All right. Quick question: is Michael Jordan a better blackjack player than Jack Brickhouse is a gin rummy player?
I'll say this about Michael Jordan: if you take a hit to help you, and that's the card he wanted, and he's next, he gets mad at you. I have 300 up. He's got 3,000. Why'd you take that card, Mike? Because I want to win, Michael. That's why. I mean, he's out of his mind. I mean, the guy's the most competitive dude I've ever met in my life. He hates to lose at anything.
Right. Well, I mean, best, I haven't, of all the Hall of Fame induction speeches I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Most of them are like Frank Thomas, which are fine. You think Herm Schneider, you think the Toothless Irving, the vendor, whatever, you're thinking everybody. And you want to make it's like a State of the Union speech. You get everybody's name mentioned. Michael Jordan turned it into a roast, and he wasn't really joking.
No,
he nailed Dean Smith and everybody, and he complained about the price of the tickets because he had to buy
to the kid who I beat out in high school basketball. I couldn't stand you then. I can't stand you now. Right. I mean, my God, to my coach, you cut me the first time. Take a look at me now. I mean, my God.
You won, Michael. You won.
You got it all.
I got to tell you though, I first of all, I laughed hysterically. I loved it. But the other thing is, I've worked with Hall of Famers. Okay. I mean, Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer, Jonathan Brandmeier. To me, the Hall of Fame is where you go to die. So it's okay. It's okay.
He had to get his licks in from like 40 years ago, and I mean, he beat up everybody. He beat up everybody. Right, it didn't look good, but it was funny.
I loved it. I loved the whole damn thing. It was entertaining. All right. So just to show my all-star experience, I did turn it on for a second, liked that they were wearing the uniforms. So they went back to the regular uniform.
Right, great.
After that ridiculous
took them 7 years to figure that out.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. So I like that. Saw a 3-run homer by the National League, and the announcer said, okay, they've just broken it open. And I figured, okay, fine. Yeah, that's all I need to see. I saw the highlight.
Right.
I found out how the game ended by reading the last item in the Dispatch morning newsletter. The Dispatch is a neoconservative political thing that I subscribe to. And in the last section underneath all this politics stuff was this item about how the game ended with what I call the jack off. And And I was glad that the News had been relegated to there because if Bud Selig were dead, he'd be rolling in his grave right now. And he's the guy who allowed the game to end in a tie once. I mean, it was just.
I looked it up the next morning to see who won, and ESPN had 6-6. I'm going, don't tell me. I go, don't tell me they played for a tie. Don't tell me they didn't play with the ghost runner on second base in the 10th inning. Then I go and I'm looking around, and finally I see Schwarber, and I'm going, what are they doing? And it was the home run derby type of situation. It was I think all-star games have become, I don't know what the ratings were. I didn't even feel like watching it because I don't like all the nonsense of the talking to the players during the game and all that. The play. I don't know what the ratings were, but it just seems like all-star games when we were younger were much, much bigger. It seemed like the players wanted to win.
I think probably the biggest. Well, think about it. Pete Rose ended Ray Fosse's career in 1970. Ended the guy's career.
Right.
You know, said, Pete Rose would be charged for, attempted murder.
He'd be suspended.
No. Yeah. Bruce Wolf, Mike North on the weekly wrap.
This is going good.
Bruce Wolf, Mike North on the weekly wrap. So I got to tell you, I'm not trying to butter you up because I'm going to desperately need you to, fill in again. Not too long from now.
That's good strategy.
So it's a tweet from this Tom Innocenti, and it's all about why Tom Innocenti.
No, he's a good kid though. Tommy Innocenti, his family owned a deli down the street. His dad was a shoemaker.
There you go. So Tommy was tweeting about how Europeans really live a long, long time, and they don't eat all that healthy either, but what they don't eat are processed foods.
Right.
And I was wondering, I know you've lost a lot of weight.
I lost 35 pounds, yeah.
Okay. How'd you do it? Did you do it the Tommy Innocenti way or what?
Well, first of all, let me say I haven't seen Tommy for years. Good kid.
I'm going to tell you, I went on keto. Danny Zetterman, who was over at AM 1000, ESPN, said he was doing a keto thing. And my doctor told me, my hand, they're pins and needles. Why am I? He goes, you got a lot of diabetics in your family, your brother, your mother.
Oh, right.
And he says, you gotta, you're up to 207 pounds. I've been eating a little candy. You gotta. I went cold turkey on keto for a year, and now I just cheat once a week, on Fridays, and I lost 35 pounds, and it's a way of life with me now. So,
because I got to tell you, I miss the tweets where you'd show pictures of this feast that you'd have. It'd be like a 62-ounce T-bone.
But that wasn't all.
That wasn't all. I mean, yeah, that would be fine. I mean, it's protein. It was all the accoutrements. It was...
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to look up what this accoutrements is, and then I'm going to get back to that.
Me, it's fatty.
Okay. I
got a lot of carbs.
Discipline. I stopped drinking. I've done a lot of. I haven't drank for like 18 years. Oh, by the way, if I can, I want to give condolences to Harry Teinowitz.
Yeah. Did you know Harry?
I met him 4 times. There was a roast in '93 back when they had the baseball diamond dinner. Harry, Weigel, Reinsdorf, me, bunch of guys up there. I met him there. I saw him about a year and a half ago. I shook hands with him, say, how you doing? How you feeling? But I felt so bad for him. He was in risky business. I was
going to say the first time I ever saw Harry,
I didn't even know it.
Was in the movies. You see Tom Cruise slide over.
Yes.
That's the first time you ever saw Tom Cruise.
Right.
And you see this movie. I got it. You know what? I got a little dizzy when I watched Risky Business because if you know, Tom Cruise makes love to Rebecca De Mornay on the L, but they're riding backwards. And I can't ride backwards on the L. I once got off at Wilson, riding backwards. But Harry was in.
Well, I'll tell you what, that scene today, some people would join in. So, I mean, my God, that's the last place you want to do something.
Hey, by the way, I know you were doing voices before, and you were fantastic. But
how you doing?
You can't really beat my L conductor from the 1960s. You ready? Ready? Fullerton, change for the Ravenswood.
All right, I got one. Ready?
Addison, no smoking, no spitting.
Argyle. Wilson, Change for 8.
Yeah, right. You didn't understand it. It was indecipherable.
Yeah.
Did you, when you rode, did you go that far north ever? I don't know.
To Howard?
You went to Howard, right?
I went to Howard Street.
I tell you, every time I passed this and saw the sign Loyola 1963 NCAA champs, it was great. I remember seeing that game on tape delay.
My dad was screaming. It was 10:30 at night, 11. He's
right.
In the middle of the night because he's watching the game on tape.
It was on tape delay.
Right.
The live broadcast was Red Rush earlier. Right. Yeah.
And where did they play? Loyola. Those guys were great.
You couldn't understand the El Conductor. Now they sound so white, wonderful, and mellifluous.
We're at Wilson Avenue. Enjoy the Wilson Club Hotel for men and boys, won't you?
So, all right, let's move up. Harry was a very funny guy. He was a really funny guy. And
he was.
He replaced me once, I think. I think he took over the Brandmeyer sportscaster role when I went on to Greener Pay.
I remember when he and Manton were at WGN.
Yeah.
And then he just kept, if you're going to stick out, I thought when they had the team of, for instance, Mac Yerkel and Harry, I thought he was the glue because the other two guys were basically the same type, football, guys, bigger guys. I thought, and their voices sounded similar. So Harry would come in with that voice. He was the guy that took chances. I really liked Harry. You can't make it in this business big. And you worked with some big ones too, Bruce, unless you take some chances, and I think now people don't want people to take chances. Back in the day, we took chances. It was like the Wild West. You know that as well as I do. Yeah. And I just don't see that anymore. I read today, Harry was the idea guy. I don't know if there are idea guys in radio anymore. Yeah. They come in and just say, we should try this, we should try that, because a lot of the bosses don't want to put up with any hijinks. They just don't want to go through it.
Well, it's radio. Where's that going?
There's nothing better than radio. Yeah. I've had to think that, I know podcasting. I love podcasting. It's fun. It's great. It's opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people. But there's still nothing like turning that knob on when you're in the car and listening to the radio. There isn't. It's still a specialized thing. You still got to be good to be able to do it. And I think that when we were doing it on a regular basis, I think Chicago radio is as good as any. I really do.
Oh, yeah, right. No
doubt. There were like 35 stations, and everybody there at that time you were only allowed to own 2 stations. And then Clinton and Reagan, Clinton brought in the deal, and then Reagan signed it, where you could have a company own 8 stations. And that took a lot of power away from the talent, because instead of having maybe 15, 16, 17 suitors, where there's 35 stations, you only have like 7 or 8 now. You have like, how many stations does BBM own? Or how many stations is do some of these companies own now in Chicago? They own 7.
I don't know. All I do is listen to podcasts. Although right now we're doing.
That's true.
You and
You're right. I don't listen to radio all that much. I don't.
Anymore, let's continue.
I'm in the car.
Except if it's WJOB, which we're on.
I love it.
Now that we're doing a poor man's version of Somebody Big Just Died, because you do that. That's your bit.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I said, I don't think, it started when Dennis Farina died, and at the Academy Awards, Dennis was a dear friend of me and my wife's, and at the Academy Awards, they didn't even acknowledge that he was one of the guys that died. So I said, well, they got 25-year-old, 26-year-old kids looking up these people. Sure. And every year at the Academy Awards or at the Emmys or something, there's people left out. So I said, they don't even do a big enough deal on these people anymore when they die. We're going to do one tomorrow night on Harry. And you know who else died? Connie Francis. Remember Connie?
Oh, really?
She died at 87. Now, she was the first 100. She sold 100 million records. And she did singles in 15 different languages. She sang songs back then in 15 different languages. She was a pioneer, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I expect that will change.
What was her big? I knew all.
Stupid Cupid, Where the Boys Are.
Where the Boys Are.
Yeah,
That's her
she made movies. She did variety shows. She sold 100 million records, but she's 80. She died at 87. She hadn't done anything for a long time, but she was a giant in the business in the 50s,
Speaking
60s,
of
and 70s.
great voices dying at the age of 87, Lee Elia. Lee
Oh,
Elia
man.
died. Now, I got to tell you, when it happened at the time, you know me, I think I was the only one who was on Chicago radio at the time. And you you weren't on at the time.
No.
Man. Okay.
I think Les wasn't he, or something?
Well, Les got the tape.
Les got the tape.
So I said I wholeheartedly agree with Lee Elia about the.
If that's why it was great, it was true.
Oh, and that, you know what? And if you listen to that tape, which I hadn't listened to in a long time, the guy was actually a very smart man. I mean, he's using some really big words in there.
Well, you know what? What's
polysyllabic. Yeah.
He did not make, when I do somebody big, there's people that don't make the cut. And like, for instance, Jimmy Swaggart died, the evangelist. He didn't make the cut.
Yeah, right.
Lee Leo died. He was a one-trick pony. He didn't make the cut. We did honorable mention for him. But when it came, you got to have at least how long are you going to talk about the tirade?
You got to have a body of work.
You got to have he had that one deal. He hit 217 as a player. He was a backup. He did some
played for the Cubs and the White Sox.
Right.
And not that you remember any of the games that he was in.
No, I mean, no. You remember more that Santo played for the Cubs and White Sox more than Lee Elia.
Santo played second base for the White Sox for half a season for the
which
money.
was so awesome because on the street corner, me and my buddies used to argue who was a better third baseman, Melton or Santo. And then God came. Santo got traded to the Sox, and I go, well, I guess he's going to play third, huh? And they moved him to second. And Ronnie told me biggest mistake he ever made was going and playing for the White Sox, but he figured another paycheck.
Yeah.
And he was playing in Chicago, but him and George Orta didn't get along. I mean, they had, he was really an agent.
Yeah, he was he was a fish out of water there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like Bobby Orr coming to the Blackhawks.
Oh, God. And he gave money back to the Wirtzes. He said,
how do you give money back to the Wirtzes?
He gave the money back. He didn't honor. He is one of the few guys that said, I'm not playing. I'm not taking the money. Today, Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid from the 1920. We're going to be reading in 30 years. Bobby Bonilla just got $1 million check.
Here's a reason I'd have a hard time. I have a lot of difficulty doing sports talk for a number of reasons, which you know about because I didn't take the job and you wound up getting it. Okay.
Sorry, Bruce, I feel so bad.
Here's one thing. I mean, you're talking about $500 million for Kyle Tucker.
Oh.
I can't sit on the radio worrying about my next paycheck and talking about these guys who are, but the billionaire owners. Well, you're making $500 million. I mean, I don't want to. To me, it's like fantasy baseball.
The NBA is worse.
Oh, yeah, because these guys are utility guys.
Well, first of all, I've heard of Tucker. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Atlanta signed some guy, Jameis Gilligan-Burson, for $60 million in 4 years. I go, who? I don't even know these guys. I mean, they walk off the street, they get a job as an 11th man, and they're making $100 million.
Do you know how many hot dog joints on the north side you could buy? How many franchises you could buy with that? Mike North, thank you so much. Bruce Wolf, Mike North on the Weekly.
Thanks, guys.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.